Why are the Americans threatening Burkina Faso? Why is Trump going to back for the French and going after this guy? Why is the head of the U.S. AFRICOM, the Africa Command, talking about the need to secure Burkina Faso's resources? Because this guy is the boogeyman to European imperialism. He's a young black African Muslim Marxist who is digging out the French deep state in Africa. French colonialism never ended in Africa. French have a very effective deep state in Africa. Through the banking system, through fake ownership of the natural resources of Africa, they have been able to maintain economic and political and military control over much of their former colonies. Most of the wealth of France is still stolen from Africa. The gold that fills their banks, the uranium that powers their metropolis, all of this is looted from Africa. When they pulled out, they installed a deep state with corrupt rulers that they could pay off in order to get resources for practically nothing. And Traore is ending that system. French created a banking system for Africa that gives France basic entire control over those nations' economies. The Africans actually have to borrow their own money at interest from France. And the gold mines, the uranium mines, all the natural resources in these countries are treated as French property, and Traore has been making them property of the Burkina people. And as leader of the Alliance of Sahel States, his neighbors have been joining in on it. France has been getting driven out of Africa. Some good information on it. Check out the Al Jazeera documentary, The Gold Mafia, from Al Jazeera Investigates, or this Caspian Report video about how the French bank basically owns a bunch of African countries. Now, while Trump probably does not have any direct financial interest in the French Empire, there's what they always called the threat of a good example. The reason they tried to kill Fidel Castro so many times and blockaded Cuba was not just because of the loss of the banana fields and sugarcane fields. It was that if driving imperialism out of a country improves the standard of living in that country, then there's the threat of a good example of other countries replicating. So any country that dared to defy imperialism had to be severely punished. And what Brother Ibrahim has been doing and the Alliance of Sahel States have been doing has been improving the standard of living in their countries by using those resources for those countries, and that is a threat to imperialism worldwide. There's been something like 20 or 21 coup attempts or assassination attempts on him so far, and they're not going to stop. This guy is perhaps the single greatest threat to the imperialist world order right now.
So I say to all of you in this room and all who are watching by television, we need to pray for our brother and his family and warn America, leave that brother alone.
I love Africa. It's so difficult to watch Ibrahim, I can't even say his name, Traore, in his speeches and not be absolutely shaken to the core at the absolute dedication he has to his people. And of course, that's a threat. That's a threat to colonialists. That's a threat to the West. Having anyone who is able to gather people that were ultimately very divided in a very large continent is a threat. If you don't know, Ibrahim has already survived over a dozen assassination attempts. I think it was 18 or something. And of course, France is threatening him. He has taken upon himself in Burkina Faso to build roads. He is putting in the infrastructure. He's taken it away from private companies to ensure there's no corruption through there. And they are on the ground building roads right now, building the infrastructure that Africa deserves. He has taken control over their own resources. And of course, this is a huge threat because these colonialist nations like France, they profit off of exploiting Africa, and they always have. A continent as rich in resources and culture like Africa, being independent and being free and being able to profit for its people, oh my God, now that's a whole new world.
Burkina Faso was formerly colonized by France and has an abundance of gold in natural resources. Traore pushed out Western influence, including the mine owners, who are French mine owners in Burkina Faso. France wanted to reestablish relations with Burkina Faso, and if you've seen Macron giving a pretty ridiculous speech trying to say one day they'll thank us for helping them, no, they just wanted you to leave them alone. Anyway, Traore said that in order to reestablish relations with France, that France is going to have to return all of the gold that they have stolen from Burkina Faso's mines, and all of this gold that they have is sitting in reserves in France. France is trying to say that that gold is theirs. It comes from mines in France. There are no gold mines in France. So now the US is getting involved. And we can all guess what those claims are going to be. Now we're seeing the claim, oh, he's stealing all the gold for himself and he's not helping his people. The next they're going to be like, we need to bring democracy to Burkina Faso, like those typical things that the US says in order to manufacture consent for invasion and ultimately backing a coup, which I'm sure they have already tried. Them, France, and anybody else who benefits from the gold exploitation of African nations, which includes those fake Muslim countries like the UAE. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying that. But there's a reason why a lot of these nations are not coming to the aid of Palestinians and are also thriving off of the exploitation of natural resources from nations in Africa. Anyway, I'm hoping this gets picked up by American TikTok, but we'll see. And as we go along, you're probably going to hear a lot of comparisons of Thomas Sankara to Ibrahim Traoré. Sankara was a leader almost exactly like Traore around 1970s in Burkina Faso. I have one of his speeches pinned on my profile. I'm going to make a part 2 sharing what I know about Sankara because I understand this is 2 minutes and that might be a little bit too long for people's attention spans.
If you wanted to stop Africa from becoming a superpower, you wouldn't have to invent a new strategy. The blueprint has already been written, tested, and perfected over centuries. You'd start by making sure Africa never unites. The easiest way to do that is by keeping people divided along ethnic, tribal, and religious lines. If they ever start working together, remind them of past grievances. Stoke old wounds. Fund separatist movements. Keep border disputes unresolved. Make sure every time they take 1 step forward, they take 2 steps back because they're too busy fighting each other. You'd install leaders who serve foreign interests, not their people. Find the most corrupt, the most easily manipulated, the ones who crave wealth and status more than progress. Offer them power in exchange for loyalty. If a leader rises who actually cares about Africa, get rid of them. Assassinate them if necessary. But if that's too messy, just destabilize their government and back a coup. If they talk about nationalizing resources, make an example out of them. If they try to unite Africa, take them out before the idea spreads. You'd keep Africa economically weak by making sure it never industrializes. Let them export raw materials, but never process them themselves. Control the mines, the oil fields, the rare earth minerals. Keep them selling cheap and buying expensive. If a country tries to break free and build its own industries, sabotage it. Place sanctions, destabilize its currency, fund local opposition, crash its economy. If that doesn't work, orchestrate a civil war. People can't build when they're too busy trying to survive. You'd make sure their education system produces workers, not innovators. Teach them history that glorifies their oppressors. Make them think their cultures are primitive. Their ancestors were savages. Their future depends on foreign approval. Train them to memorize, not to think critically. Keep their best and brightest looking overseas for opportunities. Make them dream of escaping Africa rather than fixing it. Offer scholarships that take their top minds to the West and never encourage them to return. Let the continent keep training doctors and engineers only for them to go enrich other nations. You'd control their narratives. Own their media. Control their stories. Dictate their image to the world. Make them believe they are corrupt, hopeless, eternally in crisis. Flood their screens with poverty porn and war zones. Show them charity ads that make them believe they are helpless without foreign aid. Downplay their successes. Twist their victories into isolated incidents. If an African country develops a groundbreaking innovation, credit a foreign investor. If an African leader implements a successful policy, frame it as an anomaly rather than proof of competence. You'd make sure they remain dependent. Drown them in debt. Offer loans with impossible conditions. Force them to privatize everything so foreign corporations own their water, their electricity, their land. When they struggle, give them just enough aid to keep them alive, but never enough to make them self-sufficient. Use charities to create a culture of reliance rather than resilience. Make them think foreign intervention is necessary, that they can't solve their own problems, that they always need help from the outside. You'd suppress their military strength. Keep their armies weak, their defense industries non-existent. Sell them weapons to fight each other, but never let them develop high-tech military technology. If a country tries to build a strong defense system, accuse them of being a threat to stability. Make sure they always need foreign peacekeepers, foreign military bases, foreign advisors controlling their security. Keep them vulnerable to invasion, coups, and foreign interference. The formula is simple. Divide, corrupt, exploit, miseducate, control. Keep them fighting each other. Keep them looking outside for solutions. Keep them poor, dependent, insecure. Make sure every attempt to break free is met with resistance so strong that the next generation thinks twice before trying again. This isn't a theory. It's history. The real question isn't how to stop Africa from becoming a superpower. It's how Africa can break the cycle despite every effort to keep it down.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew Ibrahim Traoré was sooner or later going to be on the hit list, bro. You understand? They try to snipe him off. They're trying to counsel, they're trying to arrest him. They put an arrest on him. You understand? The French and the Americans. This is what they do. Their forefathers have done it. They're doing it. And their children will do it. You understand? It's in their blood. It's in their DNA, bro. They thrive off evil. They can't see Africa do well. They can't see Asia do well. They can't see Burkina Faso do well. You understand? And this is the thing. They know the magnitude, the power of Africa if united. And this is what I mean, like, I'm from Bangladesh, yeah? If we were like that, if Asia was like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, bro, we will be unstoppable, you understand? They need problems. They need problems. Why? Because when there's problems in society, it's a society which they can control. They don't want a society which is united. They want a society which is broken. A broken society is controllable. And this is what they want.
Alassane Ouattara, the president of Ivory Coast. Listen to me very carefully. If you are going to let American use your air bases or military forces to try kill Ibrahim Traoré or destroy Burkina Faso or destroy Mali or destroy Niger, I am telling you straight, you will face us. And we will point you as Africa's enemy. This is direct warning to you.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.